Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla and the new show Overflow, episode 17. Tesla's Model Y sales soars 510% in China in March, proving the haters wrong. And as predicted, plug-in hybrids are losing their momentum here in some European countries. And we had a new guy picking a fight with Elon, but the fight didn't last very long. And we had a big milestone from Tesla at the Giga Texas factory. And Tesla opened up a new market, and the Tesla stock made the second highest jump in history. And the trade war is heating up. And Porsche continues to having problem with their EV batteries. And Tesla humanoid robot production is imminent. All of this and much more in today's episode. Start right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
And we can put to rest any doubt that Tesla sales are down because of anything else but the refreshed Model Y, as Tesla sales in China are up 510% in March. Damn! Yes, we got the Tesla China sales numbers from Chinese Passenger Car Association, as Roland also reported as he wrote on X. Chinese Passenger Car Association reported 74,000 Tesla sales in China in March, so March is up 18.1% year over year and Q1 is up 1.3% year over year. The production in the Shanghai factory is of course down in Q1, but the sales in China is not. And all of this while changing the best-selling model to a new version. Yes, very impressive. As noted in the CNEV report, Tesla China wholesales result in March included 49,000 units of the new Model Y. This represents a decrease of 14.8% from the 57,000 Model Ys that were sold in March 2024, but a 510% increase from the only 8,000 Model Ys that were sold in February. And they hardly exported any. They exported 3,911 units. So Tesla only had just under 12,000 Model Ys to sell in February and closing in on 50,000 Model Ys here in March. Now that is one hell of a ramp. So no, they didn't have many products to sell. That is why their sales are down. I don't think we can make it much clearer than this. That Tesla shut down production and had no product to sell, and the haters came out of their caves screaming about demand problem for Tesla, as they do every single year. But an increase of 510% is a bit extreme. I think we can put to rest any doubt about Tesla's slowdown in sales not being from the production stop to refresh the Model Y, as this was an extreme jump from the Tesla Model Y in China. And we can also see what I have talked about before, that China seems to not really export much this year from the China factory in February and March to get as much out to customers as fast as possible with the limited units available, and don't want to waste time on shipping them around the world. And we can see on this chart from CNEV that this is exactly what is happening. They have hardly exported any car for the last 2 months, which is very unusual for February and March. So we can clearly see that this is not a normal situation. But that is changing now, as we can also see on Roland's chart here. Tesla's domestic sales are back down in the beginning of a new quarter, which is very normal, as this is when they usually export a lot of cars. And we can see Tesla returning to that trend. Still a little higher than last year, but seems like Tesla is now exporting some Model Ys to get them out to Southeast Asia, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and so on. So it seems like Tesla's Shanghai factory is back to normal levels and back to the normal trends. So no more refresh hangover, so we should see Tesla sales pick up very nicely on a global scale here in Q2. As predicted, the plug-in hybrids are losing their momentum here in Europe as their utility rate is being lowered. And in some countries, that also means that they are losing their subsidies. As is the case here in my country of Denmark. As Elias from FDM, a Danish automotive organization, wrote on X. They came, they saw, and they lost. Denmark is probably the first country in the EU to say goodbye to plug-in hybrids, as Norway is not part of the EU. Not intentionally, but because of the new measurement method, the Euro 6e BIS, which is the latest standard for approving plug-in hybrids, means that many new models will have CO2 emission of more than the 50 grams per kilometers. Yes, as I talked about many times before in 2024, that this would come and also spell trouble for someone like Toyota, that in the EU has 74% of their sales being hybrids in 2024, only 3% was BEV, and those hybrids is of course both plug-in hybrids and non-plug-in hybrids. Hybrid stands for about 62% of total sales and plug-in hybrids about 9%. And they still have almost 26% of pure ICE cars. And the reason because of the higher emission from the plug-in hybrids is because in the new test vehicles are driven over 2,200 kilometers up from 800 kilometers to measure real-world CO2 emission more accurately. Many plug-in hybrids now exceed the 50 grams per kilometer limit for tax benefits, leading to a higher tax and cost, especially in places like here in Denmark. It's part of the EU's push for cleaner vehicles, so Toyota is losing some of those plug-in hybrids that have lower CO2 emission than the non-plug-in hybrids that has an emission of about 80 to 110 grams per kilometers depending on the size of the vehicles. But as he continues, in concrete terms, this means in Denmark that they have lost the tax rebate that has kept prices down so far. Even the cheapest model are set to increase by up to 100,000 Danish crowns in registration tax, which is equivalent to about $15,000. So quite the price hike. While more expensive cars could become up to several 100,000 kroners more expensive, so maybe as high as $30,000 to $40,000. In Europe, we are where Denmark was 4 to 5 years ago, namely looking at growth in plug-in hybrid sales. And it seems places like Germany and the Netherlands demand is significant. Plug-in hybrids are also losing significant status in the EU CO2 rules for car manufacturers due to rise in CO2 values. What does this mean for the value of existing plug-in hybrids in Denmark? The loss of value of plug-in hybrid has been high, especially for the most expensive models. The fact that fewer plug-in hybrids are coming to the market and that the new prices for the models are increasing significantly will, all else being equal, reduce the loss of values of existing cars. But with the rapid development we are seeing with electric cars and charging infrastructure, we at FDM do not believe that there will be many buyers of plug-in hybrids. The market is dynamic and customers are looking for good deals. There is really money to save by choosing an electric car instead of a plug-in hybrid, unless you have specific needs such as towing a caravan or horse trailer, etc. Yes, most EVs can tow like 1,600 kilos like the Model Y, but if you need to tow 2,000 kilos, you have to get something like the Model X, which is a much more expensive car. But for the vast majority, an EV will be able to handle all your daily needs, and they are now becoming the cheaper option. And plug-in hybrids will die off quickly, just like we saw it in Norway, spilling trouble for automakers that do not make many EVs, but mostly hybrids like Toyota. So they will lose some of the many plug-in hybrids that have helped them before to lower their CO2 emission. So that is probably also why we have already seen Toyota pull together with Tesla to lower their emission targets, because Toyota missing the target by just like 5 grams per kilometers, that will end up costing them something like 590 million euros in fine. Just 5 grams per kilometers. So let's see how their sales numbers will look in 2025 and onwards. And we had a new guy picking a fight with Elon, but the fight didn't last very long, as his lies was exposed by multiple sources very quickly. And the tariff war continues. We had some scary, stupid things being said. They are scary because it shows Peter Navarro, who is senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, does not know what he's talking about. And he is supposed to be one of the guys that knows about manufacturing. But he has just ruined his own credibility here. Just take a listen to this.
When it comes to tariffs and trade, we all understand in the White House, and the American people understand, that Elon's a car manufacturer. But he's not a car manufacturer. He's a car assembler in many cases. If you go to his Texas plant, a good part of the engines that he gets, which in the EV case is the batteries, come from Japan and come from China. The electronics come from Taiwan. The tires come. What we want, and the difference is in our thinking and Elon's on this, is that we want the tires made in Akron. We want the transmissions made in Indianapolis. We want the engines made in Flint and Saginaw, and we want the cars manufactured here. It's like this business model where BMW and Mercedes come in to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and have us assemble German engines and Austrian transmissions. That doesn't work for America. It's bad for our economics. It's bad for our national security. We want them to come here. And with Elon, it's fine. He's a car man. He's a car person. That's what he does. And he wants the cheap foreign parts, and we understand that. But we want him home.
So he said he knows, and American people know. Well, he clearly didn't know, as he was trying to shit on the most American-made car. Post on X even got community noted as it wrote. According to Cars.com's ranking, the most American-made car is the Tesla Model Y. But Elon's brother also tuned in and said, just the fact that Navarro thinks that Teslas have engines says it all. Wow, and this guy is in charge of trade. Yes, even CNN did a piece where they actually corrected the lies from Peter Navarro.
What is actually a really good American manufacturing success story.
Exactly.
The original insult was that Teslas are made of all these foreign components. In fact, Teslas are the most American-made car.
True. We have the chart, I mean, to prove your point. I mean,
yes.
They rank basically at the top on all these different metrics for domestic manufacturing, but Elon is still concerned about the tariffs.
So the administration is always talking about, hey, we got to make more stuff here. Let's make things in America. Let's have American-made cars. Well, Elon is actually doing it, and then your guy goes out, Navarro, and craps all over him and lies about the fact that he's actually making cars in America.
And Jeff Lutz, who is a supply chain expert with decades of global manufacturing expertise, lays out exactly what the US should do step by step according to the tariffs they are fighting about. So let's hear what he had to say to Herbert.
When you're the trade representative and you have to sit down in front of other trade and have these negotiations, you have to know what you're talking about. And it really ruins your credibility when you get on TV and you say things like this, because how do I believe that you know anything else? And now I'm concerned, like, you're representing our country. I'm concerned that they actually don't know what they're talking about. And this gets back to my original point. We are tariffing things that we cannot build at T equals 0 today. T equals 0 means time. Time equals 0 means today. We are tariffing things that we cannot build. And when you tariff something that you cannot build, you are fundamentally either bankrupting your importer, or raising the price for you as the manufacturer, or raising the price for the consumer of the outbound product, or all of the above. That doesn't help anybody. What would help everyone is doing these tariffs. You say, Jeff, what are you suggesting? You're just saying that they're doing everything wrong. You're not giving me the suggestion. Here are the suggestions. Go industry by industry, category by category. Do sector level tariffs. Do them on a schedule. Do them on a schedule based on our capability today and when we'll get ramped up to full capability in the United States. Be selective on what we tariff. We do not want to tariff things that we have no intention of ever building.
Now that sounds very reasonable in my ears, and Jeff definitely knows what he's talking about, unlike Peter, but luckily both the CN and X have corrected his lies about Tesla. But we also had a Ford CEO, Jim Farley, backing Elon against Peter Navarro, inviting him to Michigan to check out the F-150 production processes, as he wrote. We should never lose sight of the breadth and value of American innovation. It's the lifeblood of our economy and extends beyond assembly. I invite anyone to Michigan to see for themselves how the best-selling F-150 goes all the way from sketchpad to engineering lab to test track to rolling off the assembly line, thanks to the skill of our hourly workers, all within 1 square mile. And he tagged Elon, who replied with a little American flag. But we did also see Trump yesterday say that he will be looking at making some exceptions for US companies that is hit the hardest by tariffs. So he will probably adjust some of the many tariffs he has been throwing out. But we have also talked about the many countries that now want to negotiate with the US on tariffs. So far, the number per the US government is 75 countries, but China is not one of them so far. They are fighting back, putting 84% on the US sold goods, as reported by CNBC.
Well, the Chinese retaliatory tariffs, as you said, are going into effect today, so in about 3 hours' time. But if there's any question as to whether or not the Chinese were going to back down, have a change of heart, and accommodate President Trump, the Chinese laid that to rest by adjusting their tariffs to match President Trump's 50% adjustment. And now the tariff rate for all American goods coming into here is going to be 84%. So in addition to that, the Chinese named 18 companies that would be vulnerable to restrictions under an unreliable entity list, also export control list, so they wouldn't be allowed to source any dual-use items from Chinese suppliers. And this all comes in line with the general messaging that we've heard out of China, and that is that China plans to stand firm. In fact, in a public speech today, his first since the escalation, President Xi Jinping had really tried to paint himself as a defender of multilateralism. He also said that he was going to strengthen his ties with neighboring countries. The People's Daily, which is the voice of the Communist Party, ran an op-ed where they were quoting President Xi as saying that the best way to weather the storm is to focus with unwavering determination. And then today, the Commerce Ministry also reiterated that it did have what it described as an abundant means for retaliation. And then what was interesting is that they also tweaked their language around the TikTok sales, saying that any TikTok sale required Beijing's approval. And the reason why that's interesting is that in its past statements recently, it's actually been softening that and saying that they support companies having deals with companies. So it's toughening up.
So this could put some serious pressure on big US companies like Apple and others. Tesla does build their cars in China for the Chinese market, so this will not affect them very much. But the Trump administration is also threatening to delist Chinese product from the stock exchange over tariff war now. And they are firing back with 125% tariffs in the escalating trade war with China. But at the same time, Trump has announced a 90-day tariff pause for some countries. So the trade war continues, and there's nothing we can do about it but wait for it to be over and see where we all land. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla shorts. We had another little drag race between the $118,000 BMW M3 CS versus the $55,000 Tesla Model 3 Performance. The M3 CS is more than double the price of the Model 3 Performance, and the Model 3 just took it to school. Like Jason from Haggerty once said, when you take the price into calculation of the Tesla Model 3 Performance, the choice becomes very easy. And Nick shared the difference between Tesla's and BMW's blind spot pedestrian safety systems, and Tesla's system will prevent you from opening the door in the first place, not just warn you once when you have already engaged in opening the door. Yes, the Tesla pedestrian safety system they have made here is just a very cool feature. And Joe Techmeyer could report that Giga Texas have now produced 400,000 Model Ys, a big display using all red Model Ys on the parking garage this morning. Official production of the Model Ys here at Giga Texas began almost 3 years ago today. Congratulations to Tesla and all the Giga Texas employees. Indeed. Nice. And we could see that the Tesla stock price jumped up over 20%, the second highest one-day jump in history. Has Elon left Doge? No. even though some investors said that Elon need to leave Doge because it was hurting Tesla's stock. It might, but how do you explain Tesla's big jump yesterday then, when nothing fundamental about Tesla and Elon Musk has changed? Yeah, it is all just short-term noise. But we have some analysts chasing the stock price down, lowering their price target. But one that holds firm at $410 price target is Morgan Stanley. And why? Robots. The bank sees Tesla's Optimus and AI tech as a game changer for global economies. Yes, exactly. Nothing with that has changed. The market has just been in a big panic for the last couple of months. And if we look at Tesla's robot business, we can see that Tesla is now hiring for 80 jobs related to the Optimus, more than ever before. So they are definitely getting ready for some real production very soon. And we have another showcase that LiDAR does not see as well as many people think. Huawei's ADS crashed into a truck. It is equipped with LiDAR. The autonomous driving system is a matter of AI, if it has a smart brain or not, rather than if it has LiDAR. Yes, exactly. And meanwhile, in China, we have full self-driving bypassing a scene of two cars' collision. And that was no problem at all. And Johan Planck highlighted a Porsche Taycan recall notice dated by March 25, 2025, warning owners of battery issues that could lead to fires, required vehicle to be checked every 60 days at the dealership until the software fix is available. Elon did try to warn automakers that pouch cells battery were not a very good idea, and I think we have seen that very well showcased with the many fires from automakers that are using pouch cells. And Tom Mueller also experienced 2 battery replacements in 8 months in his Porsche Taycan. And in Porsche Taycan forums, they also cite whistleblowers claiming that 60% of Porsche Taycans have battery issues, causing replacement and fires, linked to the 800-volt charger's inability to control charging. Yes, put too much pressure on the already fragile pouch cells. It's not a good idea. And Elon reposted this video from Mars and wrote, Starship will hopefully depart from Mars at the end of next year with Optimus Explorer robots. This is just such a wild comment. I really hope this comes true and they get Starship ready for this, because this will be so wild to see the Optimus robot walking around on Mars exploring the planet. Wild times we are living in. And tech geek Tesla made a nice video of actual smart summon in use. Tesla had some complaints about the ambient light of the dash in the Tesla Model 3 Highland. Some owners said they could see the reflection of the light in the windshield, which was distracting at night. In the new Model Y, Tesla has integrated the light into the dash to prevent this. The little things. Yes, and also funny how so many people really like those heads-up displays and don't find them distracting, because I have always hated those, exactly because I think they are so distracting when driving at night. I don't need to have my speed right in front of my eyes at all times. But anyway, that's just me ranting a bit, but nice to see Tesla making their products better with feedback from customers. And Robinson shared this video and wrote, here is Tesla's new showroom in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. They are starting to sell cars tomorrow, so that will be today. So a new market is opening up for Tesla, and the country plans to scale from 100 to 5,000 charging stations by 2030, and hopefully Tesla can help with that. We know Lucid is already there, but they will probably not build any chargers, but Tesla probably will. And I have shown Chinese rise in the automotive sectors by exporting more cars, but I just saw this new visualization, so if you don't understand what the Chinese have accomplished over the last 5 years, well, take a look at this. It is quite extreme. And Starlink is now active on more than 700 planes around the world, according to SpaceX. This is up from 500 planes 2 months ago. Starlink is on contract to connect more than 3,000 aircraft all around the world, including commercial airliners. Yeah, this is such a game changer for air travel. And let's end this short with a little quote from Tesla Economics on X. They laughed, they doubted, but when Elon first showed off the Cybertruck in 2019, I saw the future. I knew it was for me. It was my dream and now I'm living it. I love Tesla. I really don't care if people hate it, because I know the future this company is fighting for is much greater than just dollars. That is all we have time for in this Overflow News Show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it here on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet, also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.